Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this afternoon's live event. It's going to be on balance and resistance training, and we're going to start at 2 o'clock. So you got some time just before we get started, and it's important to utilize this time right now to gather some exercise equipment which we'll be using during the live event. They could either be household objects, something very simple like a bag that you could put some books in, some water bottles. If you have dumbbells, those are great. If you have some TheraBands, they're great as well. Perhaps a sturdy chair as well is important, just in case you do need that chair during the live event. We're going to get started in a couple of minutes, so sit tight and we'll be on in a couple of minutes. Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you everyone for joining us for this afternoon's live event. It's going to be on balance and resistance training, so we're just about to get started. Before we get started, we're going to be speaking about exercise safety guidelines. My name is Chris, and I'll be the moderator this afternoon. Some safety guidelines. This is an unsupervised exercise session. All participants are advised to receive clearance from their physicians and or exercise therapists prior to initiating an exercise program. Please do not participate if clearance has not been received. Some more safety announcements. Please do not participate if since your last contact with us, you have experienced any unusual symptoms, if you've had any unplanned doctors or hospital visits, if you've had any ankle, leg swelling and or a greater than increase in 4 pounds in 2 days or 6 pounds in 1 week. If you develop any symptoms during the sessions, stop exercising. If worsened, seek medical attention. Remember that you are in control of your own workout. Stay within your comfort levels. This afternoon, we have Lara. Lara, who is an exercise therapist in the Regional Cardiac Rehab Program. She will be running you through the resistance training and balance. Lara, you're now live.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining Chris and myself today for our balance and resistance training session. We're going to go straight into our warm-up, and whatever that looks like to you, let's just keep moving. You can follow along with me, or you can do your own little walk/march around your space, whatever works. We just want to get that blood pumping a little bit before we get started. So, rolling our shoulders back. And the other way. All right, keep up with that march. We'll go a little bit wider with that march. And back to the middle. And one more time wider. And back in the middle. So we're going to switch up to a tap. So we're just going to tap our toes in front, arms raising. Anytime we're doing any arm raises, just pick the height that's comfortable for you, for your range of motion. You may have some difficulty with the shoulders, so just make your adjustments. Now I'm going to change that to a toe tap. It may be hard to see with the camera there, so I was tapping my heel. Now I'm tapping my toe, which helps stretch out that little front part of our lower leg. All right, back to our marching. Now I have limited space here, but we have hopefully have a little bit of space. We're going to do a side step. So as you step to the side, just do a little bicep curl. Now if we can, we're going to turn this into a hamstring curl. So that actually looks like this. So now we're bending our knee, bringing our heel towards our bottom. And then a little kind of rowing action with our arms if you'd like. You always have, if you have your chair, you're always welcome to use that for some balance support if you're not quite comfortable with the full movement. All right, we'll come back to the front, still marching here. I always like to add a little swim, makes me think of warmer days to come. Springtime. I mean, it's a little warmer today. Some of that snow is turning into rain, which is kind of yucky, but at least warmer than what we've been experiencing. All right, turn this into a little breaststroke. All right, a little higher. If you're able to, we're just going to go for a little bit of high knees. So your high knees can be simple, just a higher march. You can really go out a little higher if you do a kind of like a standing crunch. Also an option. Everyone's warm-up's going to look a little different depending on your level, and that's okay. Alrighty, we're going to jump right into this. So we'd like to do a little bit of variety. I'm just going to show you your little bag you could be using if you don't have resistance training. I'm not really going to use it so much today, but this is always an option when you're doing any of your resistance training to use a bag full of household items. So I'm going to start off with squats, but I'm going to show you a little variations. So for those of you who want a little more support, we can start off doing what we call a sit to stand. So for the sit to stand, you have a sturdy chair, and then we're doing a little sit down on our chair, and we're pushing right back up. So you're really doing a squat, but you have that extra confidence and support of your chair. Your arms can go out front for support. This is just an option. You do not have to do it this way for your squat, but I just want people to see the sit to stand option. So for the rest of us that are not doing that option, you can also use your chair for support, or we can go straight in to our standard squat. So your feet about shoulder or hip width apart, and you're keeping that weight in your heels, not your toes. So wiggle those toes, they should be nice and loose. I'll show you from the side angle as well. And again, arms out for more support, or you can hold them by your chest. You could hold weights, for example. Lots of options. Lots of ways to do our squats. All right, and you don't have to necessarily go too far down. This could be your range, and that's okay, as long as the weight stays in your heels. All right, holding weights. Perfect. So while we're standing here, if you happen to have a chair or you're close to a wall or a table, we're going to do a standing bird dog exercise, which is actually a core exercise that focuses a little bit on the front part of our core, but more of our back. So wherever your support is, I want you to walk your feet out from that area. Make sure you have a little bit of a space here, otherwise it'll be a little too easy. So you're basically in a chair plank position. And now we're going to take left arm up, right leg out. So we're just doing opposite. So we're raising one arm and the opposite leg at the same time. Now this can be done on the ground, but we're just doing kind of an intro level. But it's still really great exercise to do, even in this position. Do a couple more. Let's do a couple things with the chair before I move it. Probably should give myself a little more space here, so keep going so you can see a little better. There we go. That's better. Okay, two more. Now, while we're here, chair push-ups. So again, if you're comfortable with push-ups and it's something you've done before recently and everything's okay there, that is fine for you to do these on the ground. But I'm actually just going to do a chair wall push-up. This is good for lots of people for an introduction. So if you're on the wall, your hand would be somewhere on the wall or your chair. Again, you're going to walk yourself back very similar to where you were for that bird dog. And again, you can keep your hands close together for more triceps or wider apart to do a little more chest and back if you'd like. And all you're doing is a little push-up. So basically, it's like a plank with a little push-up. These are really good because you do a lot of muscles at once when you do exercises like this, even the modified version. You're working your core. You're working some arms and chest and back. All right. Now I'm going to grab some weights. So I'm just going to move this out of the way a little bit. Grab your weights. Now you can again use bands or household items. I'm using weights right now. And we're just going to get right into some of the resistance training with our weights. We're going to start off with some bicep curls. So I just want you to roll your shoulders back, make sure you're in a good position. And we're going to start off for the first couple curls, show you this way, in a hammer curl position. So elbows at your side. We're going to have the weights actually facing up or the hand kind of facing up with the palms facing together. So instead of being open, facing together. We'll just start a couple curls like this to start off with. Okay, always breathing. All right, we're going to switch. So now open the hands up and then we'll continue. So then you can say same standard bicep curl. All right, slow and controlled. If you're using the band, you're just kind of standing on that band to create that resistance. All right, one more. Now for our triceps. Again, for this one here, I'm going to use the weights. We'll show you that with the bands the second time around. So for this body position, we're just going to kind of get ourselves into a nice comfortable stance with our legs. We're going to bend at the hip, keep our back nice and straight and our core nice and tight, nice and strong, okay? Now, we're going to bring our arms up like we would in a rowing position. And now we're going to keep our elbows up the whole time, and we're just straightening our arms back, squeeze those muscles of the upper arm, the back of the upper arm, and then back. Really try to feel that squeeze when you extend. All right, two more. Perfect. Next, I'm gonna do a little balance break here. So you can put your weights down for a sec. We'll do a couple of balance exercises and then we'll come back to our weights. So first thing, really good balance exercise, really basic heel raises. You could continue to hold those weights if you choose. You have your chair for some balance support. We're coming up onto our toes and slowly down. So things to think about when you do your heel raises is we're not rocking back on our heels when we come down. We're just coming up and slowly down. You can even choose not to fully come down. Hover on near the ground and then come back up. All depends on how strong your balance is currently. But different ways to make it more challenging. You could hold your weights as well. All right. All right, we'll do one more balance exercise. We'll go back to our weights. So now that we're standing, we're going to do a side leg raise, one of my favorites. So if you have your balance support, I recommend being close to it. I'm going to start off with my left leg. So I'll just have my hand on my hip here just to kind of indicate that start, but you don't have to. And what we're doing is keeping our body nice and tall. We're raising our foot out to the side. You're keeping your toe turned inwards or straight ahead. So we want to avoid this movement with the foot. So the foot is turned in. And raise. It's not really a lot of weight or resistance involved here. So this is really balance and technique. So you can be holding on if you like. I'm going to keep your body from rocking back and forth as well. All right, we're going to switch sides in just a sec here, and then we'll do a couple more with the weights. All right. So again, holding on to your support here. I like to put my hand here just to kind of identify what side we're working on here for the camera here, but we're just going to do a nice side leg lift, keeping your body straight and tall. Leading kind of with the heel, that's a good way to describe it because that'll help keep your toe turned more inward or straight. If you lead with your heel as opposed to your toe. Working on the small but really, really important muscle of the outer part of our hip. Really important for balance and all stability of the pelvis and core. All right. Grab your weights again or band, whatever you're using. We're going to do a couple more exercises with this before we do some more balance. Shoulders. So this is the nemesis of many because shoulders can be really challenging. So we just do our best. So I just want you to make sure you get into a good, comfortable position to start. Always roll your shoulders back to make sure you're in a good posture to start. We're just going to do front raise and then side raise. Sorry, give myself enough space here. Front raise and side raise. So we're not trying to raise as high as we can raise our arms, for example, we're just going about shoulder height and then back down. And in some cases, you might not even be able to go that high, but work within your own level. And some people may not even be able to use weights at this point because of other issues, so just do what you need to do. So we'll do one more for each, so the front and the side. Front, and then side. Now next is our rowing exercise. So this is for our back, and really, really important for our posture, upper back. So we have a couple of options. It's a pretty strong area. So if you're using dumbbells and you only have a couple available, try to see if you can crisscross those dumbbells to put them in one hand to create that extra resistance, or just use the heaviest one you're comfortable using. If you're using a band, again, you can hold on to that band. So in this case, I'm going to start with, I'll start with the side so we can see better. So my right foot is forward, which means that the resistance is in my left hand. So that way I use my right side to support my back, and then I row. So the rowing action, you're bringing your, I guess, your dumbbells or your band with by your wrist, kind of sliding past your hip, and you're bringing your elbow up and back. And you're trying to squeeze those muscles between the shoulder blade area. It can be hard sometimes to have enough resistance to really challenge that area. So this is why I'm suggesting the crossing of the weights, but it may not work depending on the size of your hands and of the weight you have, but it's an option. One more, and then switch. This is probably as much as I personally could hold in my little hand, but we'll see. It's hard to come by. Weights are hard to come by these days if you're lucky enough to have them. Got to be creative with how we use them. All right. One more. So we're going to do 2 more balance exercises, and then we're going to kind of move on to our second set, which is going to have some bands and body weight and some other options. So for our next balance exercise, another one of my favorites, we have our chair for support if you need it. I'm going to show it to you with the support, and then I'm going to show it to you from the side. But really basic, we did the side part of our hip. Now we want to look at the front and the back of our hip, which is really important as well. So with the right leg starting, we're just going to go flex up high, as high as you're comfortable with that front knee, and then we're extending behind ourselves. You're still staying tall. So I'm going to show you from side view, up, so flex forward, extend back. Now you can have your hands on your hips. You could be holding on to something. You could actually let your arms move with the exercise. It really depends on how comfortable you are standing on one foot. So you may need to be holding on, and that's okay. You still want the body to stay tall. So our body's not rocking back and forth with this one. We're doing all the control in this region. We're really working on all the different muscles in the hip joint. All right, we're going to switch sides. So again, holding on is still a good idea for many, if you can. We're going to flex forward and extend back. Again, use the arms if you want, holding on if you need to, on the hips if you need to. Whatever you like. All right, next up, simple but also challenging. Balance exercise we call round the clock or star, depending on how you look at it. It's important because we're talking about shifting our balance and shifting our weight, which is really, really important to practice and challenge ourselves. So I'm going to start with my right foot. And what it basically looks like is we're going to go right in front, a tap. We're going out to the side, a tap. We're going behind us, a tap. And if you can, even crossed over a little bit. That's kind of the extra challenging one. And then back in reverse. Now, if you need to be holding on, also okay. Okay, but just options. So you could be doing it holding on. So forward, side, back, and then even crossed over behind. All right, and then back the same way you came. And we're going to do that a couple times in each direction before we move on. Again, forward, side, back, cross, back, side, and forward. And ultimately, as you progress some of them, the exercises may not seem that complicated, But the more you want to do things in the future without holding on if you currently have to. And that's sort of a sign of progression and improvement. And if you're doing all of these exercises and they're too easy for you, well, let your therapist know. And we have other options that are even harder. Oop, I got to switch to my other foot here. One more for each foot, and then we'll keep going. So forward, side, back, cross. There's almost always a harder way if you really want to know it. At the same time, there's also modified ways that may be easier if required to. So there's lots of options. Just communicate those with your therapist. All right, next. I'm gonna grab the band, but again, if you're using your weights, continue with your weights. I just want to give some options. So I'm going to do a chest exercise that, yes, you can replicate with weights, although I am going to do a version of it on the floor at the end, later in the kind of class, I guess. So you can wait if you'd like, if you only are using weights. But I'm going to do a chest exercise here. So with the band under the armpits, and you're grabbing fairly close to your armpits if you can. And depending on your shoulders, ideally, shoulders, elbows up. But if they have to be here, it's okay. But if we can, elbows up. And then we are kind of pushing out, squeezing our chest as we go forward. We're bringing our palms together. And then when we come back, I always recommend squeeze the shoulder blades as we come back. And then we press forwards, bring those palms of our hands together, and then back. To make this more challenging, again, you're grabbing closer to your armpit, basically. And obviously, to make it easier, you're further away. Squeeze. But try to keep, if you can, those elbows up. But you're still going to get some chest work if your elbows are down. All right, we'll do a couple more. All right. Now with our band, just for something a little different, at least for me, let's stand. Just pick your foot. I'm going to start with my right foot on the band. And I'm going to put both pieces of the band together. And I'm going to grab pretty low for this one, but you can adjust. Grab them pretty low. For me, I'm grabbing below my knee. And then I'm standing right back up, nice and tall. All right, nice and straight. And we're doing a side bend. So for the side bend, to really feel it, I feel like you got to grab a fair bit of band, but it's a little different for everyone. And then basically you're going to allow that, the weighted, I guess the resistance side, not to pull you down, but you're going to go down slow and controlled, and then resist the other way. And resist up the other way. Actually, for this one, because you have to control it on the way down, you can kind of feel it in both directions if you have enough resistance. Okay, and then we're going to switch sides. So switching feet. And you'll know kind of from that one maybe how far you need to hold on to, how far you need to reach down. You can always adjust partway through. Getting into that position and then starting your bend. All right, next up, our biceps and our triceps. All right, so for the band, what are we doing here? Okay. You can, a lot of options. I'm just going to do standing on one foot, just gives you a little more balance support if you need more balance, but putting 2 feet down, you're going to create a little bit more resistance automatically by doing that. So that's an option. Rolling your shoulders back to make sure you're in a good position, elbows at your side, and we're doing our bicep curl. Be careful and don't let the band pull you down. You got to control your way down. All right, that's part of the exercise, is the control on the way down. Now, if you can, this is a bonus. You don't have to do it. You can keep with your regular curl if you'd like. Take that the right hand, hold it at a 90 degrees. So you're isometric. Hold that band. Keep it there. And then continue to curl through with your other hand. Working our brain a little bit here, having the one hold, one isometric, while the other one is dynamically moving. It's an option. All right, and then we'll switch. So in this case, I'll get my left hand. I'm going to hold it. Kind of switch my body position here. Holding that, and then curl. right and just do a couple full range before we finish. All right, good. Triceps with the band. So if you're using your weights, you can do your tricep kickbacks again. If you're using your band is in half. We're gonna, if it's in my right hand, it's coming across to my left side, so it's across my body. Again, I always say this for people that might be new to this exercise. I always encourage people to grab a single piece of the band to start, but grab high up. Grab really close to your kind of shoulder level, armpit level, for the first little bit, just to feel it. And I want you to keep your elbow glued to your side, so you don't want it sticking out. Glued to your side, and then extend. Now, when you extend out, you want to feel the squeezing of that tricep muscle, the back of your upper arm. If you can feel that squeeze, and it's not enough, then go ahead and grab the extra piece of band. But sometimes we get into this kind of eccentric sort of bicep curl instead, and we don't get our triceps involved. So you want to make sure you know how that feels before you grab more resistance. But once you feel it, you know it, and it's good. You can really feel that tricep working. Squeeze once you get to that full extension. If you feel like you lost it, grab a little higher. Makes the full range of that pull a lot stronger. All right, switching. So if it's in my left hand, I'm going to cross my body to my right side. Again, you can start with a single band, but up high just to get that feel. You feel it. You can feel the squeeze of the muscle. Go ahead, grab that second piece. So you can continue to feel that. You don't want to lose it and take over with the other muscles. You want to feel that squeeze on full extension. All right, we are going to do a mini balance break here. I'm going to give you two options for both of these exercises. So I'm going to show you the exercise. This is a much more challenging balance exercise. If you're happy to do it, wonderful. If it's not for you, I want you doing heel raises, okay? So the one I'm going to show you, I want you to start off, arms up, maybe slightly off to the side. I'm going to say towards the right side. All right, and then bringing the opposite leg, so your opposite leg up, clap under the leg, and then extend out. So this one here, we can't really do this exercise while holding on. So if your balance isn't up for it, it's okay. This is where I want you to do those heel raises, do another set of heel raises. And for those of us that maybe have a little bit better balance and we've done this for a while, we can try this one. But this one is definitely going to cause is a little bit more challenging than some of the others. All right, we're going to switch sides. Again, if you're doing your heel raises, you can either stop or you can continue if you feel strong enough. Again, we're bringing the knee up high and then extending out back, arms up. If you're really brave, you don't even put that foot down, but that's a whole other level of modification. We're shifting our weight, moving our body about, standing on one leg. A lot of stuff's going on here. All right, for this next one, I'm going to give you two options as well, but they're both hard. So just do the best you can or try it out. So the first basic option is just a standard lunge. If you're okay with that and actually having something to hold on to if you're new to lunges is actually a good idea because you might need some balance support. So I'll just show you the standard lunge and then I'll show you your options. Your standard lunge, again, you could be pretend like I have something beside me to hold on to. It's hard for me to show if I have something in the way. But you have for your left foot forward, for example, your left foot is not quite in line, but it's just stepping back. And then we're kind of an up and down, pushing up to the heels. You don't really want your knee to go too far over your knee. You just kind of want just over that knee area and pushing up. Okay, it's a very hard exercise, to be honest. All right, continue with your standard lunge if you'd like. If you want an extra challenge, this is what we got. So we're going to do our lunge. And we're stepping up with a knee drive and then reverse lunge back, stepping up with your knee drive. Okay, I'm going to continue on the side, reverse lunge back, step up with your knee drive and back. So again, balance, weight shifting, strengthening all at once. We could make it even harder, but I'm not going to do that today. If you want that, you just give Chris the thumbs up and I'll send you the other options. All right, switching sides. So you can do your standard lunge, which looks more like this. Up and down, again, holding on if you need to. And then if you choose, you can do your modification, which is your drive with reverse lunge, knee drive, reverse lunge. Or again, standard lunge. All right. All right. Oh dear. All right. All right. Let's do a quick little shoulder review, back exercise, and we'll finish off with the core. I always take too long. Okay. For our shoulders, give yourself a little extra space, a little extra band, or again, you could use your weights. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do front and then side. All right. Now here, I usually recommend doing one arm at a time because most of our bands aren't long enough to do two. I mean, if you're stronger and your band is long enough, you could technically do them both at the same time. I probably couldn't do it with this band really well, so I felt it would be too hard for me. Okay, we're gonna do one more to the side and we'll switch sides. So again, give yourself a little extra band. Or if you're doing the weights, same as before, shoulders back, good position. Front raise, side raise, no higher than shoulder height. All right. Now for the row with the band, lots of options here. I'm going to do a bilateral row, but for an example, if you're looking for extra challenge for this row, I would do it with one arm at a time, 2 pieces of band holding really low. For now, I'm going to do the bilateral row, which is holding one on each side, still pretty low to get that resistance, and then row. So the movement's the same. This time we're doing it at the same time, both arms at the same time. You can do this while sitting in a chair as well. It's a good one to do while you're watching TV if you're trying to boost the calorie burn throughout the day. Do some rows while you're sitting on the couch. All right. So I'm going to do a couple exercises. I'm going to do these ones on the ground. So if that's not for you, you can watch if you like. You don't have to do these ones on the ground if you're not comfortable with that. I'm going to bring my weights back for one of them because I wanted to do that chest exercise that I couldn't do before with the weights. I like to save the ones for the ground at the end because it doesn't suit everybody. So feet on the ground, if you're going to choose to do this, lying down nice and there we go. Take your time and then keep the feet on the ground to protect the back. Now in this case, we have a couple of options. So for the chest fly, for example, your arms are essentially straight out from your shoulder area, and you're bringing the weights basically to that chest level, or not, the alignment of the chest, and then straight back out. This one is going to be a little bit harder, for example, with a straighter arm for the chest. Okay, so that's an option. And then another option would be with a bent arm, still from that same starting position, coming up, bringing the palms together, and this would be more of a chest press. All right. You could do the exercise with the band that we did at the beginning of our band session today with the chest as well. All right. For the interest of time, I'm going to finish off with one more exercise, and it is our plank. If you're not comfortable getting on the ground and you're still hanging out with us, you can do that chair version of the plank. So when we did the bird dog and the push-ups earlier, or you could do lots of different options of plank from the ground. So when you're on the ground, you can do a high plank with your arms up straight like this. This is an option. You can do it down from your elbows as well. You do it with your knees down. Lots of things to think about in terms of the effort of your plank. So but once you're in the plank, the same rules apply for everybody. You want to keep a straight body. So you want to avoid hip flexion and you want to avoid sinking. If either of those things are happening, take a break. And then start again later. Not really going to time this for you working on it at home. Just kind of time how long you can do the plank before you need to take a break. And then you just try to improve upon that. And I have lots of ways to make your planks more difficult. If that's someone's interested, just let me know. Lots of plank progressions I can help you out with. Getting up easily, taking your time off the ground when you get up from the ground. That is it for our exercise resistance balance training session for today. I encourage you all to visit our website, which is www.gethearthealthy.ca/patient education, and that will have the list of all of our upcoming educational events. All the ones for this evening, for example, I believe we have a session on heart failure, but keep an eye out for education and exercise sessions on the website, and have a lovely afternoon, and hopefully we'll see you soon.